Chai, Wink, album review. Let's chat about it. Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning, here tonight to chat about this latest one from Chai, Nagoya, Japan-based experimental pop group. And ever since they've kind of hopped on the scene with 2017's Pink album, honestly, it's been a blast to cover them. Their first album was just so much fun. This was a righteous blend of indie pop and dance rock and synth pop and dream pop. Even some disco was thrown in on here, and I just can't stress it enough. This album was a blast. Now, their follow-up, Punk, was better produced and even more fun than its predecessor. I mean, this album truly had no right going as hard as it did, but they did that for us. Now, I respect and encourage evolution in music, but these new singles from Chai have been a far cry from where we have been with their last two albums. Let's chat about it. Now, I'm going to call it right out like I see it. Honestly, this album probably isn't exactly what I was expected to hear from Chai, but it's still pretty darn good. This album starts off with Donuts Mind If I Do, and it is one of my favorite tracks here. I love the amount of swagger here. I love the just steamy verses that we get. It's very dreamy, it's very glitzy, and the verses are just fantastic. Production is also really sharp. And no, it's not as quirky or animated or wild as anything that I expected, but it's still pretty darn good. It's just this very joyous track that I can't help but cuddle up to. Some of the vocals, especially towards the end of the track, are pretty fantastic. Action, on the other hand, is just audible candy. It's quirky, it's full of life, and honestly has one of the best grooves here. All around, this is the sound that I thought that I was going to hear more of here. It's funky, it's got a ton of character, it's got a ton of swagger. I've loved this since I first heard it. This is a great reminder of who Chai are. Then we have End, which made my freaking day. This is by far my favorite deep cut here. I love how upbeat it is. It's just so colorful and fun. In a weird way, it almost reminds me of like Benito Generation from Caro Caro Benito. And you know what? I want to hear more of this sound. And Ping Pong featuring YMCK is also really great. It's super bright, it's super carefree. That 8-bit beat that comes in YMCK is fantastic too. As a matter of fact, hearing this, I would love to hear them aboard the future pop train. For now, this is just a lot of what's pushed me in the direction of Chai's music in the past. But I don't know, some of this new material just doesn't excite me as much as I hoped. Shockingly, it's some of the singles and the early tracks that were dropped from this album that do it. Like maybe Chocolate Chips featuring Rick Wilson, it's one of my least favorite tracks here. I mean, it's very bubbly, it's hip-hop infused, but compared to some of the other tracks on here, I don't know, I don't find it nearly as fun or instantaneous or catchy. Also, not for nothing, this isn't even the best hip-hop leaning track here. I have a lot of the same feelings towards Nobody Knows That We Are Fun. Now, the swagger is here, the performance is here, but this just doesn't excite me overall. This doesn't get in my veins. I do like the dreamy and hazy production, but this is just a sound that I'm not that into. Its Vitamin C, on the other hand, has all the makings for something that I'd usually adore. It's super bright, it has a ton of influences, but I'm not that wild about the atmosphere or the dreamy production. I honestly feel like this is more of a transitional project for Chai. But overall, it's still pretty decent. Like in Pink featuring Mind Sign, this track is all gravy. Like, I feel like I was pretty harsh on some of the more hip-hop infused tracks earlier, but this one, this is money. This goes so hard. Chai here oozes confidence, and it is so smooth. Some of these licks here absolutely melt. Carriage, on the other hand, I'm kind of on the fence with. I really like the production here. I really love the instrumental, but these whispered vocals, like, I don't know. That's just not for me, man. This track just demands a charismatic verse, and we don't really get that here. Miracle, on the other hand, is good enough to be a single. It's so bubbly, it's so sweet. The beat here is right on the money. It almost has a weird, almost 80s flair to it, which I think they pull off really well. And the final two tracks here aren't necessarily bad, but they're not the exciting finale I was kind of hoping for. Wish Upon a Star doesn't really move me either way. I mean, instrumentally, this track just does not really what I'm into from Chai, but it is incredibly sweet. It is down to earth, and it is just really nice on the ears. And I have a lot of the same feelings on Salty as a finale. This is a weird one for me. Going into this album, I was super excited to hear what Chai are doing, but for me, I almost feel like this is more of a transitional project. I mean, still, there's a bunch, and I mean a good hunk of this album that is super charismatic, filled with swagger. The production is great, their performances are usually pretty awesome, but I don't know. For me, this isn't what I go to Chai for, but I'm super curious to see where they go from here. I'm feeling a light 7 on this album, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.